Many stressed professionals find themselves reaching for a drink at the end of a hard day. There's a fascinating biological reason your brain craves that glass of wine when you're overwhelmed. When your stress hormones are spiking from deadline pressure or difficult conversations, something particular happens in your brain that makes alcohol feel like the perfect solution. But here's what your brain isn't telling you about the aftermath. By the end of this video, you'll know precisely why that drink feels so good and how to avoid the crash that follows. Here's what your body does when stress meets your glass. It all starts with those moments when your brain is screaming for relief. When your brain tricks you into that first drink. Picture this. You just finished a brutal client call where everything went wrong, and suddenly your brain is screaming for that glass of wine. The presentation crashed, the client questioned every decision you made, and now you're sitting at your desk feeling like a complete failure. Your heart is still racing, and your mind won't stop replaying every awful moment. That wine bottle in your kitchen starts calling out to you. Maybe it's the impossible deadline scenario instead. Your boss just dropped a massive project on your desk that needs to be done by tomorrow morning, and your stomach knots up as you realize you'll be working until midnight again. Or perhaps it's that problematic conversation you keep avoiding because your palms get sweaty just thinking about walking into your boss's office to ask for that raise. Then you rush home to find the kids fighting, dinner burning on the stove, and your partner asking about weekend plans while you're trying to finish an important email. Your brain feels like it's being pulled in 10 different directions at once. Here's what happens in your brain during these moments that makes alcohol feel like the only logical solution. I learnt this the hard way during my journey as a working mum. When I noticed I was reaching for wine every single time I had one of those overwhelming days. It started innocently enough, just a glass to help me unwind after fierce days when everything seemed to go wrong at once. What I didn't understand then was how stress spikes cortisol in real time, which primes your brain to seek quick relief. When cortisol floods your system during these moments, it creates an intense craving for something, anything, to silence the mental noise. Your body is screaming for relief from the chemical storm happening inside your brain. The feeling is so strong that rational thinking becomes nearly impossible. This is the exact moment when your prefrontal cortex gets hijacked. This part of the brain handles decision-making, planning, and impulse control. But when stress hormones take over, it's as if someone has unplugged your rational thinking center. You can't think clearly about consequences or alternatives. All you know is that you need relief right now. But why does that first sip feel almost magical? The science may surprise you. Alcohol targets your GABA receptors, which are responsible for calming your nervous system. GABA is your brain's natural brake pedal, and alcohol essentially slams on those brakes. Within minutes, the racing thoughts slow down, your muscles relax, and that tight feeling in your chest starts to ease. Your brain interprets this as proof that alcohol is the solution to your stress problem. I remember thinking that my evening glass would wipe away hours of work stress until I realized it was setting me up for tomorrow's battle. Here's what your brain isn't telling you about this relief feeling. It's playing a dangerous trick on you. Think of it like this. Alcohol doesn't create new calm energy. Instead, it borrows from your body's natural stress regulation processes over the next several hours. This is a simplified way to understand how alcohol disrupts your system. Still, while you feel better in the moment, you're setting yourself up to feel more stressed and anxious tomorrow because you've used up your natural stress-fighting resources. This creates what I call the stress cycle trap. You feel stressed, you drink to feel better, you sleep poorly because alcohol disrupts your recovery time. You wake up feeling more anxious and stressed than before, and then you need alcohol again to cope. Your brain starts to believe that alcohol is the only way to handle stress, even though it's making your anxiety worse over time. The terrifying part is how this process trains your brain to become dependent on alcohol for stress relief. Every time you reach for a drink when stressed, you're teaching your brain that it can't handle difficult emotions on its own. But what happens next in your body might shock you. The hidden stress bomb, alcohol plants in your system. Your body starts working against you within hours of that first sip. Those 2-3 hours after your stress relief drink are when your system begins to prepare you for feeling more overwhelmed than before. I want you to understand exactly what's happening during this time, as it explains a lot about why you might feel worse the next day. When you first drink alcohol, it suppresses your stress response system completely. Think of your stress response like a car alarm that's been going off all day. Alcohol essentially cuts the power to that alarm system, giving you that false sense of calm we all crave. Your nervous system slows down, your heart rate drops, and those racing thoughts finally quiet down. This feels amazing because your body has been in fight or flight mode for hours. But here's where things get tricky. Your body doesn't like having its natural system shut down, even temporarily. So while you're enjoying that peaceful feeling, your body starts preparing for what it thinks is an emergency. It assumes something dangerous happened to cause this sudden shutdown of your stress response system. Your body begins producing extra stress hormones to compensate for what it sees as a problem. Researchers call this the rebound effect. Your body overcompensates for the shutdown by flooding you with even more stress hormones later. Once alcohol starts leaving your system, your body overcompensates by producing even more stress hormones than you had before drinking. It's like your body is trying to wake up a sleeping security guard by setting off every alarm at once. The result is that you end up feeling more anxious and stressed than when you started. I learned about this the hard way when I started waking up at 3 a.m. with racing thoughts after my evening wine. For months, I had no idea these two things were connected. My heart would be pounding, and I felt this awful sense of dread about the upcoming day. What I didn't know was that the cortisol spike occurs 6 to 8 hours after drinking, which often happens right when you're trying to sleep or when you start the next day. This timing is cruel because you might go to bed feeling relaxed, but wake up feeling like you're already behind and overwhelmed before your feet even hit the floor. The problem gets worse because alcohol disrupts your REM sleep, which is when your brain processes the day's emotions. When alcohol interferes with this process, your brain can't properly file away the day's stress. So all those overwhelming feelings from your difficult day are still sitting there, unprocessed, when you wake up. This isn't random anxiety, it's your body dealing with the aftermath of borrowing calm from tomorrow. What's concerning is how alcohol weakens your natural stress resilience over time. Your body has fantastic built-in systems for handling stress, but regular drinking essentially tells these systems to take a break. It's like having a personal trainer, but never letting them train you. Your natural stress-fighting muscles get weaker because they're not being used. Regular stress drinking trains your brain to become less capable of handling stress naturally. Every time you use alcohol to cope, you're missing an opportunity to build real resilience. Your brain starts to believe it can't handle difficult emotions without chemical help. Every day, workplace stress or family challenges begin to feel impossible to manage on your own. The most important thing to understand is that this pattern feels challenging to break, but it's possible. Your brain is incredibly adaptable, and it can learn new ways to handle stress. Once you see how alcohol affects your stress levels in the hours and days after drinking, everything starts to make sense. This knowledge gives you real power to break the cycle. Your brain is borrowing calm from tomorrow and leaving you with a larger stress bill to pay. The good news is that recognizing this pattern is the first step to building real stress resilience that doesn't come with a hangover. Tonight, note how you feel in the middle of the night and first thing in the morning. Track your sleep quality, morning anxiety, and the difficulty you experience with everyday tasks. Try tracking your stress and alcohol for 1 week. Notice the pattern and share your insights in the comments. This awareness alone will help you make better choices about when and why you reach for alcohol. If you found this useful, subscribe for more simple strategies to manage stress naturally.